Hello, I'm Riverside Police Chief Larry Gonzalez, and I'm here to talk to you about a critical incident involving our officers that occurred in our city on Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. Whenever we have a critical incident, we want to share as much information as possible with our community members as soon as the investigation allows. That morning, members of our problem-oriented policing team, or POP team, were following up on an armed carjacking that had occurred earlier. Around 10:25 a.m., they located the carjacked vehicle driving in the 6600 block of Palm Avenue and attempted to stop it, but the driver pulled into an apartment complex and tried to flee. When the driver exited the vehicle, he was armed with a handgun and an officer-involved shooting occurred. The suspect in this investigation is 42-year-old Eddie Madrigal of Moreno Valley. Eddie is a documented gang member and currently on high-control parole supervision for robbery in concert with others with use of a firearm. His criminal record includes arrests and convictions for home invasion robbery, burglary, conspiracy, criminal threats, the possession, sales, and transportation of controlled substances, along with several parole violations. The firearm Eddie was holding when contacted by officers was a .22 caliber handgun that was loaded with 10 rounds. In Riverside County, all officer-involved shootings are investigated by an outside agency, in which this one will be led by the Riverside Sheriff's Force Investigations Detail. You're about to see some relevant video and learn about other evidence and police procedures related to this investigation so you can have a better understanding of the facts as we know them right now. Please remember, this investigation is still in its early stages and completion typically takes several months. The carjacking victim called our Public Safety Communications Center around 9:21 a.m. to report that Eddie confronted him that morning with a black semi-automatic handgun and demanded the keys to his black BMW. Eddie left in the victim's car, but he dropped his driver's license at the scene. Officers on our POP team contacted the victim to confirm the carjacking crime and to begin following up as to the whereabouts of Eddie and the victim's stolen car. They learned Eddie was currently on high-control parole supervision with a GPS ankle monitor, so they contacted state parole to start tracking the suspect. Eddie's ankle monitor tracked him to downtown Riverside near the county courthouse. The officers met up with their team and developed a plan to locate and detain Eddie. The angles of the videos you're about to view are not necessarily the full perspective of what the officers saw at the time of this incident. As a warning, some viewers may find portions of this video disturbing, and it is not suitable for children or those with sensitive needs. Updates were provided as to Eddie's location, and POP officers located him driving the carjacked vehicle in the 6600 block of Palm Avenue. They activated their emergency lights and siren, but Eddie failed to immediately yield and drove into the rear parking lot of an apartment complex nearby.
Watch the foot go. I'll call you back.
As they got to the dead end of the driveway, Eddie exited the stolen car as it was still traveling forward, while holding a black handgun. He ran toward the back corner of this complex, which has a neighborhood of single-family homes behind it.
Hey, stop! Hey, he's got a gun!
At one point, while he's briefly running, Eddie points the gun towards the officers. One of the POP officers then fired 4 times from his duty handgun, striking Eddie once in the back. Eddie fell to the ground and officers approached him. They assessed his injuries, called for medical aid, then began attending to the gunshot wound. He was taken to a local hospital where he remained guarded by our officers until transferred to a detention ward at another medical facility. There was a passenger in the stolen car that was detained by other POP team members. This passenger, another gang member, was later released after investigators did not believe he was present during or involved in the carjacking. Eddie was convicted of robbery in concert with the use of a firearm in 2016 and sentenced to 12 years in state prison. He was released on parole supervision in September of 2023. Since his release, he was arrested for violating his parole in January of 2024, March of 2024, and again on June 3rd, 2024. He was sentenced to serve 135 days in jail, but released after 12 days due to current laws requiring the early release of non- or lesser violent inmates in order to prevent overcrowding. Eddie Madrigal has been charged by the Riverside County District Attorney's Office with carjacking, brandishing a firearm, felon in possession of a firearm and being prohibited from possessing a firearm, possession of controlled substances, violation of parole, resisting, delaying, or obstructing a law enforcement officer, and additionally, an enhancement for having prior serious felonies. He's still being held in custody on $1 million bail. When we have an officer-involved shooting, multiple investigations are automatically launched. Our officers strive to de-escalate the situations they encounter daily, and we take any use of force very seriously. Over the next several months, the Riverside County Sheriff's Forced Investigation Detail, aided by our department and the Riverside County District Attorney's Bureau of Investigations, will continue to investigate and analyze this incident. The Riverside County District Attorney and his team will conduct a final review of the entire incident to determine if the officer's actions were compliant with current laws. Anyone with additional information related to this incident should contact any of the investigators listed here. Thank you for watching.